Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another video, and in today's video I'm going to build a drop-down menu on a navigation bar, just as you can see in here in this video. So yeah, I think this is one great way to start with JavaScript, and a lot of you are all the time like asking for some kind of JavaScript tutorial. So this is one way that you can use JavaScript in a really simple project like this one, just building a navigation bar and just clicking and hovering for a drop-down menu. Yeah, so let's get started with this. It's quite simple, and I'll teach you everything that you need to know, so you don't need to know any JavaScript at all. I'm gonna guide you, I'm gonna hook you up. All right, so let's start with this. So first of all, let's go in here in our Visual Studio Code. This is the code editor I'm using, and I'm gonna create a new file. Oops, I have already a new file, and I'm gonna save it, and I'm going in here. So my dev project, and I'm gonna put this one in here, and I'm gonna call it index.html. Okay, so let's save this one, and let's start with a simple code snippet to have our page started. If you are using Visual Studio Code, you already have this snippet, so you just have to type HTML5 and this is going to show up. Let's put the title in here. It's going to be drop down menu. Okay, so let's start off with our navigation bar. All right, let me just open this one, and yeah, so inside of our navigation bar I want to have a logo. So I'm going to put a div in here with a class logo. All right, and in here I'm going to put an image. So far it's going to be empty, and I'm going to have a UL, and I'm going to have maybe like 4 items inside of the UL, and one is going to be home, the other is going to be my shop, something like this. This is going to be about, and this is going to be contact. All right, let's open this in the browser and let's see how does it look like. Okay, this is so far what we have. We created a nav. This is the container, and we created a div with a class logo with an image inside. So far we don't have anything because we didn't put the path yet. And then we have an unordered list with home, my shop, about, and contact. Okay, so let's put the image now. So the image I have in here, next to my index.html, I have a folder called img, and then I have my logo image. Okay, so in here on the img source, I'm going to put img. This is the name of the folder, and then I'm going to put logo.png. Okay, let's refresh the page, and we got in here the logo, and we got in here our menu. So first of all, let's create our CSS file, by the way. So this is the file. I'm going to save it as, and actually let me create a folder in here called CSS. And let's go inside, and I'm going to call it main.css. You can call it whatever you want. So I always like when I start to get this with a star, that means it's targeting everything on the page. And I'm going to give it padding 0 to all the elements and margin 0. The reason is because, by default, the browser gives some margins and paddings to elements like h1s, paragraphs, divs, or whatever, and this way I'm putting everything to 0, and I will just give my own values that I want. And I also want box sizing border box. Okay, now let's just see if this is working. I'm going to give the body, I want the nav, actually the nav element that we just create. So the nav, I want the background color to be gray. I'm actually going to put this a little bit not so gray. So oops, going to push it something like this. All right, so let's refresh. It's still not working because we need to reference in here. Okay, under the meta tags that we have in here, we're going to create a link. So I don't have to write all of these down because Visual Studio Code has this kind of snippet, so it saves us a lot of time. So we got a link with a relationship of style sheet because this is what's going to style our page, and the href is going to be the path where is our CSS file. Okay, so if I go in here next to my index, there is this folder called CSS, and inside we got our main.css file. Okay, so I'm going to put in here CSS, this is the name of the folder, /main.css. Okay, let's refresh the page, and now our styles are applying. This is the background color that I put in there. Okay, now I want to put this div in here because we got this div. Let's see, we got this div. If you, sorry, I don't know if I explained this. To open the developer tools on your browser, I'm using the Google Chrome, but if you are using Firefox or Edge or whatever, all of them, they have some kind of developer tools. To open them, you have to just like right click and inspect, or press F12 on your keyboard. So I'm going to inspect, and if I go in here, look at the top, we got our nav. You can see how everything is selected. And then we got our div with a class logo. It's taking all of the width of the parent, which is this nav, okay? And by default, a div has a display of block. This means that it's going to take the full width of the parent. And the same with this UL element. By default, they have a display of block. This means that it's going to take the full width of the parent. That's why they can't stay next to each other, all right? So we can put them actually next to each other by using a little bit of Flexbox. So I'm going to explain. This is not a CSS tutorial, but I'm just going to explain quickly. So to put two things like these ones, you want to put this one on the left and this one on the right. You have to put on the parent. So this is the parent, the navigation element. And inside you have two children. This div with the class logo, and this UL, okay? These are the two children. So I want to give our parent a display of flex. This one is just saying, okay, the parent has a display of flex, and I want the children to justify content space between. So this justify content, it just means, okay, one is going to the left, one is going to the right. So the first one is going to the left and the second one is going to the right. All right, let's refresh the page. And now this one is in here on the left, and this one, where is it? The UL is on the right. Okay, so we are getting closer to what we want. First of all, I want my logo is too big, you know. So I want my logo img, so is the image inside. No, actually it's not this one. Yeah, I want my image to be a width of 100% of the parent, first of all. So the parent is this class logo, this div with the class logo. Let's refresh. So this one we are targeting is the div with the class logo. Look how much space is it taking. Okay, it's taking this percentage of the navigation bar. And then I'm saying that the image inside is going to expand to meet this 100% of this parent. So this is fine. Now I want my div with the class logo to have a max width. So I'm going to put in here my div with the class logo to have a width of, let's say, 15% of the parent. All right, there it is. I think we can even put it a little bit smaller, maybe like 10%. Okay, so look, now this little bit that you see highlighted is 10% of the navigation bar, which is the parent. Okay, so this is fine like this. Now let's go in here to our navigation bar in here, this menu, I mean. So I want in here, first of all, I'm going to put in here a class of menu CTN, which is short for container. So it's going to be menu CTN. I'm going to put in here menu CTN, and I'm going to put the allies. I want the allies to be display inline block. All right, let's see, and there it is. Okay, so now they are displaying horizontally. That's what I wanted. Now let's center. You see, these ones are in here on the top. I want them to be centered on the page. Okay, so to center all of these elements on the page, let's go back to our parent, the navigation bar, where we put the display flex. Justify content space between. This means that it's going to push one to the left, one to the right. And now if I put in here align items center, this is going to center both of these elements, this one and this one. This is going to center them vertically on the navigation bar. All right, let's refresh, and there it is. So it's centered vertically, and this one as well. Okay, what else can we do in here? I want these ones to have a background color of let's say white. Okay, so now they have a background color of white. It's fine. I want to give it a little bit of padding, so because it's just taking the exactly amount that they need. So I want to give it a little bit of padding so they grow a little bit. So padding, I want to give a 10 pixels top and bottom, and then the second value is for left and right. So I'm going to put it maybe 15 pixels. So this first value is for padding top and bottom, and this second value is for left and right. Okay, let's refresh. Okay, there it is. 10 pixels top and bottom, and 15 left and right. This is for all of them. Now I want to push this a little bit to this side, and the same with this one in here. All right, so I'm going to give to the container, which is this navigation, I'm going to give it a padding on the right and a padding on the left. So this means that it's going to push the content inside a little bit. Let's say, okay, let's go to our navigation in here. I want the padding on the right to be, let's say, 30 pixels, just as an example. And the padding on the left, 30 pixels as well. Let me refresh, and if we go in here, let's hover this one, the navigation. Look, you see this space in here is highlighted. It means that our padding left and right that we just added, so it's pushing the content inside. Okay, so this is what we wanted so far, and is working good. What can we do a little bit to improve this? I want to, when I hover with my mouse, I want to have like a pointer. With the cursor is going to change. So I'm going to put in here menu li hover, and I'm going to say I want the cursor to be a pointer. Let me save this, refresh the page, and there it is. Now we have a pointer, you know. So this is good. Now I also want, whenever I hover with the mouse, I want the background color to change. So I'm going to put in here background color. Let's say, I don't know, light blue. Let's just test this. Okay. Yeah. You see, now it's changing the color. But I think that the color is changing too fast. So what can we do is, on our menu container li, I'm going to put in here a transition, and it's going to be all. So the transition is going to affect everything that you're going to change on hover. For example, if on hover you're going to increase the size of the padding, the width, or anything, is going to target everything. I'm going to put in a 0.8 seconds, and with ease. With ease, it means that it's like smooth, you know. All right, let's refresh, and you see, Look how nice it is. All right, so we got this one. Now let's create our drop-down menu. So let's create our drop-down menu. So we got in here inside of my shop. This is where I want to create. I'm just organize this a little bit. I'm going to create in here a UL, and I'm going to put a li times 3, for example. All right, and I'm going to put in here item 1, and I'm going to put item 2, and I'm going to put item 3. Oops. Okay, let's save this. Let's refresh. And this is looking all messed up now at the moment. But don't worry, because we're going to get this sorted. Okay. Okay, let me see something in here. In here, when I'm saying this menu container li, I'm going to put this a greater than sign. So it just affects these menus in here: home, my shop, the first LIs. Okay, they are children of this menu container. So just this one, this one, this one, and this one, and not these ones that are inside of here. Okay, that's why I put now these I don't know if you call it greater than or minor than. Okay, let me just refresh this, and okay. Okay, so actually I'm just going to put in here UL, and I'm going to put list style none. This is just to remove these bullet points that whenever you create this by default. So this is gone. It's great. But what I want is I want them to be displayed none whenever we load the page. Okay, so let's actually give this a class. So I'm going to give this a class of dropdown. Dropdown. All right. Okay, and I'm going to say in here that my drop down is going to have a display of none. All right, so there it is. Now it's displaying none. Okay, so now we are going to start with JavaScript. Now this is the time to use JavaScript. Let's go for it, guys, because this is quite easy. So I'm going to create my JavaScript file. So I'm going to open a new file. Let me just push this in here. And I'm going to save it as, let me just create a folder to keep everything organized. And I'm going to call it JS, this folder. And inside, I'm going to call this main.js. Okay. And I'm going to put in here on the top a console.log. And I'm going to put quotes. This is working. Okay. And I need to put a semicolon at the end. So basically what this code is doing is, you remember these developer tools that we open here on the side? There is in here a section that is called console. Let's click on it. And in here, you can put values through this command, console.log. So if this file is working fine, we're going to see this code in here that says this is working. So let me refresh the page, and nothing is happening, because whenever you create a new JavaScript file, you need to reference it, like connect it to your index.html, just the same way that we did with our CSS file. So for that, let's put it in here on the bottom. It's always the best practice to reference your JavaScript files at the bottom of your page. So your page, whenever the browser is loading your page, it will load the JavaScript last, because sometimes the script files can be very tricky or very heavy or something. So the browser can load fast your HTML and CSS, and it will load your JavaScript in the end. Okay, so let's just reference this JavaScript file in here on the bottom. So you need to open a script tags like this, a script element, and you're going to put a src for the source, and the path to it is going to be, here is our index.html where we are writing this at the moment. So we need to go inside of our JS folder, and then you have your main.js that we just created. Okay, so I'm going to put in here JS for the folder and then main.js for the file. All right, so now we should see our console.log that we just created. Let's refresh the page and look in here. This is working. All right, so it's our file is connected to our index.html. So this is great. All right, so what can we do now? I want to create a click event with JavaScript. This is not hard, guys. All right, so let's do this. So for that, I want to, whenever I go in here and click in this button, let's say, I want something to happen. All right, so let's go in here into our index.html, and this is the button, the li. So I'm going to give it an ID of menu. All right, because this is the one that I want. This is the one that says my shop. Look, this is where it starts, this is where it ends, and you got this text my shop, and then inside has this drop down menu that we just put as a display none before, if you remember. Okay, so I'm going here and I'm going to do this document dot get element by ID. This might sound confused at the beginning, but this is the way that JavaScript connects or grabs an element by, for example, by an ID or by a class name. Now we want to grab this element by its ID. All right, so we can do something with it. So you start with this one, document dot get element by ID, and you need to put double quotes, and you're going to put the name of the ID that you have in here. In this case, we got menu. All right, menu, and then you put in here dot add event listener. So this is going to be, okay, we're going to add an event whenever we are going to do something in here. So let's open the parentheses, and I'm going to put in here the event that I want is going to be a click. So whenever I click on it, something is going to happen, and then I'm going to put a comma, and then I'm going to put the name of the function. So I'm going to put the function, let's say open menu. Okay, so now this is what we did. I'm going to explain one more time just quickly. We start with the document.getElementById menu. This is the way that JavaScript targets one element by its ID. All right, so you need to write down all the time. You don't get confused or don't get worried if this sounds complicated. This is just the way JavaScript works. You need to write document.getElementById, and inside of these parentheses and inside of these double quotes, you need to put the name of the ID that you want to target. This case, I want this li with the ID of menu. You see this one in here. Let me target this. Look, you got this li in here. Oops, let me refresh. There it is, my li with the ID of menu. And then I'm giving it an add event listener. So I'm saying to the browser, okay, whenever, let's add an event listener for a click, and whenever we click it, let's run this function called open menu. We can give it whatever name we want for this function. So this function, we need to create it now. So to create a function, you just put function, and then the name of the function, we just put it the name open menu. You need to put the exactly same name, okay, like I put in here. So open menu, and then you put open parentheses, and you put some curly braces, and here is our function. At the moment, this function is empty. So what we want to do in here? We want in here now to do almost the same thing. We want to grab the document dot get element by ID, and now the element that we want to target is let's target this one, ID, not class, drop down. So instead of a dot, I put a hashtag because this is a ID, and this is a ID. All right. Okay. I just changed this from a dot because before, when you put a dot, you are using like for a class, and now we are using a ID. Okay, so class. Actually, menu CTN can stay this one because we don't need to target this one. Okay. Let me see. So we got so it's fine. Okay. So what we want to target in here now is this one, this UL with the ID of drop down. So drop down, and then I want to put something in here called class list. So this is just to access. Okay, I'm going to target this element with a drop down ID, this one in here, and we're going to do dot class list. So we're going to do something with a class, and what I want to do is toggle a class of, let's say, active. Okay, so this class doesn't exist at the moment, but we're gonna create it now. So I'm gonna put something in here like this: drop down, down, and I'm going to put a dot for the class, and I'm going to put active. So basically in here we are saying, I'm just going to put in here display of block. Okay, let me just see if this is working. I'm going to explain in a second. Okay, so this is working fine. So what I did in here basically is, whenever we are running this function, document.getElementById, drop down, so this is this one, we're going to access the class list. So we're going to do something with a class, and what we're going to do is toggle this class active. So what toggle means is, whenever you're refreshing the page, look, this UL with the ID of dropdown, it doesn't have a class of active. So if you click it in here, it's going to put one active in there, class active. But if you click it again, if it has, it's going to remove it. Look, toggles means if it has class, it's going to remove it. If it doesn't have the class, it's going to put it in. Okay, this is what toggle means. So this is working fine. Okay, I'm just gonna explain. I don't know if you guys are understanding this or not, but for sometimes when I was starting out, this was so difficult for me. So I'm just gonna repeat this one more time so you guys understand quickly. If you got it, just push this video a little bit to the front. First of all, I'm putting in here document.getElementById menu. So this is this one, li menu. And I'm going to say I'm going to add an event listener. So whenever we click on it, we're going to run a function, okay? And this function in here, we can give it whatever name you want. That's why I created this function in here. So to start a function, you need to put function, the name of the function, and parentheses. And you need to put these curly braces. And inside, you're going to say whatever this function is going to do, okay? So whenever we come in here and we click on this, that's what we are saying in this first line. We want to grab a document.getElementById dropdown, which is this UL that we initially have as a display none. And we are going to say, okay, let's use the dot class list because we are going to do something with a class on here. And we're going to toggle a class of active, and this class active, it doesn't exist at the moment. That's why we created in here. So we are saying whenever we have a drop down element with the ID of drop down, and there is no space in here, look, it means that it has to be an element with the ID of dropdown and the class of active all together, right? We're going to put a display of block. So a display of a block, it means that it's going to show. It's not going to be display none anymore, but it's going to be show, okay? And this toggles means that it's going to, whenever we click once, it's going to add this class active. And whenever you click again, it's going to remove this class of active. This way, we're going to put display block, remove it. Display block, remove it, okay? So I hope you guys understand it. But right now, this is not working fine, look. So what can we do about this? I'm going to put in here, I'm going to use some position relative and position absolute, okay? So I'm going to put in here our menu container allies. So all of these menu allies, I want them to give a position of relative, okay? I'm going to give a position relative, okay? And I'm just going to explain what this is going to do. And I'm going to put in here my menu drop down. I want it to have a position of absolute. Okay, let's refresh. Let's click in here and look now. Okay, we got this one in here. But actually, let's give this. I'm going to put in here, so drop down. I want to have a width of 100% of the parent. So our drop down, our drop down, let's see, is this one, is a child of this li with the ID of menu. I want to have the same width, okay? Let's see, okay, it's looking better. And I want it to have a background color, let's say, I don't know. I'm just going to put it some red, some sort of red. Something like this should be fine. Let's refresh, click. Okay. And I'm going to put a z index because as you can see, look, it's getting behind other elements. I want them to push on the top. So I'm going to give it a zd index of 1. All right. Okay. Now it's on the top, so that's fine. And so this is fine. I also wanted to give a text align of center, so I want the text to be there centered. So this is fine. Yeah, this is fine. What else can we do in here? I want as well the elements inside these allies, inside of these, to have, let's say, another padding, just like the other ones. Padding, 10 pixels top and bottom, 15 pixels left and right. Okay? Yeah, this looks much better. Okay. Now, this is not well positioned. That's why we are using position relative and absolute, okay? So position relative is, this is the parent, my shop. And this is the position absolute, which is the children. And the position absolute moves around relative to the parent. So the parent is all this my shop button, okay? So if I go in here and I say drop down and I'm going to put left 0, this should go in here completely to the left, okay? Look, now it's completely to the left, okay? And now, as you can see, this one is still a bit on the top of my button. I don't want that. So I'm going to push it from the top. From the top, it means that is from here until down. I want to push it away from the top 100% of the parent. So 100% of the parent, let me just refresh, is this one. Is like the full height of the button, okay? So I'm going to put in here top 100%. Let's refresh. Yeah, you see, it's away from the top 100%. And yeah, I guess that's it. You can put it in here. Let's say if I want to remove this, where is this color? It's looking a little bit funny. If I just get rid of this, and in my other file where I built this before, if I just put this, let me go in here and just put this. Let's see how does it look like. Yeah, it looks much better. I think you guys got this got this more or less how you can do this drop down and put some allies over. And yeah, this is something really simple, how you can use JavaScript as well. I use vanilla JavaScript for this. If you want the code for this, I'm actually going to start updating my GitHub, Let me just, where is my GitHub? Look, this is my GitHub. I'm going to start putting some stuff in here. So if you guys want to go and check my projects, I'm actually going to start uploading these kind of things that I'm building. So if you guys want to just grab the code and see how it works by yourself, feel free. And that's it for this video, guys. I hope you like it. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next video.